XT, and today I'm talking with Kevin about his JL Rubicon. Thank you so much for joining with me today.
Hi, thanks for having me, Meredith.
So let's kind of give everybody a brief overview of your setup and what you're working with. So again, you have a 2020 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon Unlimited. You have the 17 by 9 inch Raceline clutch gunmetal wheels with a negative 12 millimeter offset. Gives you an aggressive stance. You have 315 70 R17 Milestar Patagonia MT mud terrain tires, which is equivalent to a 35 by 12.5. And then you also have the stock Rubicon 2-inch suspension. Overall, this is a great build. I love the color. I love the setup with this color. Can you tell us a little bit more about why you chose this setup or this combo?
I traded my factory Rubicon wheels and tires, the 33-inch tires, the KO2s, to this guy that I found online. This was his original setup, like the wheels and tires, essentially. He needed to turn his Wrangler into a daily driver. He just wanted to even trade with someone with the exact wheels and tires that he was looking for. Literally just barter system, trade even Stevens.
So when you saw the wheels, obviously you like them. Is that kind of why you chose this setup?
To give you a little backstory, I also do have a 2009 JK build that I have. So with that build, I went with the 2.5-inch lift and the Nitto Ridge Grappler tires, the 35 by 12.5-inch wide tires. I liked how those rode. So I wanted to build something very similar with my JL Rubicon build.
Do you also off-road with this, or is this mainly your daily driver?
It's both. So it's my daily driving / weekend warrior off-road vehicle as well. I have taken it overlanding a couple times, and that's sort of why I didn't want to change any of the, I guess the lift or any of the geometry or of anything like that. Just because I knew I wanted to get pretty decent gas mileage efficiency, as I mentioned before. But at the same time, I kind of want to also keep it like low center of gravity build. So I didn't need to change any of like the gearing or anything like that. Yeah, it drives great. The only thing I will say is on like one of my most recent overland trips in Vermont, I did hit a lot of things underneath the undercarriage, but that's what skid plates are for.
So let's talk about the wheels. So you have the 17 by 9 inch Raceline clutch gunmetal wheels with a negative 12 millimeter offset. Now, obviously you told us that this guy was kind of looking to get rid of these, but why did you get set on these?
My original plan was I was going to sell my JK and then just put my old wheels and tires, which I actually bought from Extreme Terrain as well. So I wanted a very similar setup. One of the second colors that I liked was gunmetal. And since I already had a set of bronze wheels already, my second choice would have been gunmetal. And since this guy came along, now I have a set of gunmetal.
Is that kind of why you stayed with the 17 by 9 inch wheel, is because that's what you have on the JK as well?
Yeah, I feel like the 17-inch by 9 wheel size, it's overall, like, I would say, like the perfect aspect ratio, like for the JK JLs.
So would you say that you're happy with the 17-inch wheel and the 35-inch tire as far as the sidewall is concerned, especially for off-roading?
Yeah, I'm very happy with it. I have a lot of friends who go bigger. They go 37s, 38s. And I think on one of my past wheeling trips, I went to Anthracite. I was able to put in 93 octane because it's a turbo, and then I was just riding on the 35s. They had their 37s and everything like that with their JKs, and I remember we filled up leaving New Jersey, headed there, and then they had to fill up again. And I remember I was still like less than like a quarter of a tank used. Nice. Yeah.
That is awesome. So the 9-inch width of the wheel paired with the negative 12 millimeter offset gives you an aggressive stance to the Jeep. Is that what you were looking for? You kind of mentioned it before that you were looking for the right offset and the right back spacing when choosing a wheel as well.
Yes. So I found that this combination, the negative 12 millimeter offset with the 9-inch width wheel, along with the 17-inch wheelbase, it's like very good for, I guess, if you want to sort of keep a stock Rubicon build. Just because I know in a lot of forums I've done some research where you can put 35s on like a Rubicon, but like it's not feasible for off-roading, or like, oh, you'll get plenty of rub on your like inner fender flares and stuff like that. But like I just feel like with the proper research and offset and backspacing, and like I've taken this thing like some pretty serious off-roading with what I can and the capabilities, and I have not rubbed at all.
Now, as far as the stance, are you happy with the stance?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's actually better than what I expected. Yeah, this is the perfect stance.
That's awesome. So let's get into the tires. So again, for everybody watching at home, Kevin has the 315/70 R17 Milestar Patagonia MT mud terrain tire, which is equivalent to a 35 by 12.5. Again, you picked this tire up off that trade, but can you tell me why you chose this tire and why you accepted it in that trade?
I'm used to running all-terrain tires on my JK builds. After the stock wheels, I went to the Goodyear Duratrack, the 33-inch. And they were pretty loud and noisy, actually. So that was my first experience with like that type of all-terrain tire. And then after that, I upgraded to the Nitto Ridge Grapplers, which I absolutely love. Like those are great tires. 35-inch, they're actually quieter than my 33-inch Duratracks. When I was talking to the guy who wanted to trade the tires for, I was asking them about, I guess, the weight, how it rides, but he actually said that he did his research beforehand and he found that the Patagonia Milestar mud terrains were actually like the quietest of all the mud terrains, and he said that they were a very, very light mud terrain tire. After experiencing some daily driving with those, daily commuting to work and then doing some like off-roading, winter driving, like last season, a lot of snow that we had and a lot of rain, they're actually pretty good. I have no complaints about it. They're slightly like they slightly have like an ominous on it, but it's like still way less than the 33-inch Duratracks. I would say almost comparable to the Nitto Ridge Grapplers.
You talked a little bit about mud terrain over all terrain. Can you tell me why you stuck with the mud terrain?
Originally, I kind of wanted to stay away from them just because like they have a stipulation of being really loud, really noisy, and then just like they don't perform as well like if you're daily driving versus like if you keep it as like your dedicated wheeler. But for daily driving, they've been pretty good.
That's awesome. And I mean, that's all you can ask for, right? In an aggressive tire that is going to benefit you off-road to also perform when it's on-road. Now, as far as the ride compared to the stock Rubicon tires, how is it? Is it comparable?
Yeah, it's not going to be like a 100% match, but yeah, definitely comparable, especially with like keeping the same stock suspension. The acceleration still comparable to what it would drive like stock.
So you said that you calibrated for the tires as well with the JL Mini.
Yes, that's correct.
Awesome. And did that give you a little bit more pickup compared to driving it without the calibration?
I wouldn't say any more pickup, but I would say it basically just helped the computer realign of like when to properly shift. So like I wouldn't be stuck in like second, third gear or whatever for like a little longer than I want. I feel like it would shift appropriately, essentially.
Let's get into your suspension. So again, you have the stock Rubicon suspension, which is 2 inches in size. Why did you choose to stay stock?
I wanted to stay stock just because I knew this was going to be a daily driver. I wasn't going to mess around with it as much. I would consider it like the perfect height.
And I think it looks great, especially with the wheel and tire setup that you have now. Now, you mentioned that you had no fitment issues when it came to the wheel and tire setup because you paid attention to the offset and the size of the tire. That's still true?
Yeah, still true. Don't have any issues rubbing at all or anything like that.
Now, as far as off-road situations, how does the suspension handle with the new 35s and the 17x9s?
Most recently in Vermont, when we went overlanding, I kind of forgot that I wasn't in like four low. So for a good majority of the time, I was just really pushing the limits in like 2-wheel and then 4 high, really, because the wheels and like the tire package was like doing exceptionally well, and I kind of just forgot I had everything else. And then there was one point where like I actually did get stuck, or like I think I was like doing a climb on some like flick rocks or whatever, and then someone was like, "Hey, bro, are you in 4 high? Did you engage your locker?" I was like, "Right." So yeah, pretty confident with like the way how it handles off road.
That's awesome. Now, are you happy with the way that it looks as far as the stance and everything is concerned when it comes to the entire combination?
Yeah, extremely happy with it. It definitely makes a difference in like the aggressiveness, I guess, or how it looks. Yeah.
As far as upgrading in the future, are you happy with the lift now, or would you plan on putting maybe a spacer on it or changing the suspension at all?
I would be open to like maybe another between 2.5 to 3.5 if I do decide to go like 37, 38s.
Well, that kind of wraps it up for everything and all my questions. Thank you so much for speaking with me again.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm gonna give a recap of Kevin's build again. So he has the 2020 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon Unlimited. The wheels are the 17 by 9-inch Raceline clutch gunmetal wheels with a negative 12mm offset. Gives you an aggressive stance. He has a 315/70 R17 Milestar Patagonia MT mud terrain tire, which is equivalent to a 35 by 12.5, and the stock Rubicon 2-inch suspension. Again, thank you so much for speaking with me, and for all things Jeep, remember to keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.